Hello, Veronica. It's Mr. Shawn here, here to read some more stories to you. I hope things are going well for you and you're enjoying your time at home, getting outside to play and just having some fun. So, we're going to change up. We're going to do some different stories about people and things. Um, so, today's story is called George Washington Carver. Let's find out who George Washington Carver is. He's kind of famous. He did a lot of different things. George Washington Carver was born on a small farm in Diamond, Missouri around 1864. Well, that was a long time ago. That was 150 years ago during what was called the Civil War that was going on at that time. His parents were enslaved. That means they were slaves or belonged to someone else, which is not a good thing. And that was that year they were there was a thing called the Emancipation Proclamation, which set all slaves free in the United States. Carver had to travel far away to get an education. I think he had to go to France, maybe, which is across the ocean in a different country, to get educated, go to school. He later grew up to become a scientist and inventor whose work helped farmers. So let's see what kind of things he helped farmers out with, huh? George was raised by Moses and Susan Carver. The white couple owned Carver's family members. They taught George to read and write. He was very smart and loved nature. So apparently, the white couple who owned the family, which means, again, George and his family were slaves and they owned them, which you can't own someone. It's not what we're supposed to do. You can't own somebody. So apparently, they taught George to read and write, which is not something most people did for slaves. They didn't teach them to read and write because they didn't think they were smart enough, but they're very smart, just like you and me. George Washington Carver went to Iowa State University. He Iowa State, Iowa is here in what's called the Midwest. It's kind of west of Michigan. They grow a lot of corn there. He became the first African American student there. Carver studied art and science. He became a teacher at the university. Later, he became a teacher at Tuskegee University in Alabama. Tuskegee University was the first university that was specially designed for African American people or blacks. So that was a special school, and there was a lot of famous things that were done at Tuskegee University. So it sounds like he taught at Iowa State University as well. So very smart man. Cotton was an important crop during the late 1800s, but growing cotton made the soil weak. Means that it would take all the called nutrients out of the soil, which means they couldn't grow crops anymore because the things that the plants needed to grow weren't there anymore. So cotton is still an important crop today, which you make clothes out of it and different things. So it's still very much used today. Carver taught his students to switch back and forth between planting cotton and other crops like peanuts in their fields. This kept the soil rich. Carver also came up with new ideas for using peanuts. So switching crops back and forth, it's called crop rotation, which means you just change what crop you grow in the field every year so that, again, the fields don't get all the nourishment goes away in the soil. So, what did he do with peanuts? Carver became an expert on farming. He shared his ideas with world leaders. He even spoke before the United States Congress. You know what the Congress is? Congress is in Washington, D.C., in the big Capitol building, and it's made up of two different bodies: the House of Representatives, which there are 435 representatives, and each state, depending on how many people they have, is how many people that they have representing them. So, for instance, California has the most representatives. I think it's like 55. Michigan has, I'm not sure, probably 20, somewhere around 20 or 25. And then the smaller states only have one or two, like Wyoming only has one. And then there's another body called the Senate. And each state has two senators. So every state is equal, no matter the size. So small states who might have one representative have two senators. And big states like California that have 55 representatives only have two senators. So everybody is equal in the Senate. So it kind of offsets things. All right. So Carver also gave advice to small farmers. They used his advice to make money. So yeah, he had, like you said, different uses for peanuts. So he came up with peanut butter and oil, peanut oil, a lot of different things for the farmers to make money off of. Carver believed he should share his knowledge freely with everyone. Yeah, that's the way people learn is to share knowledge. So your mom or sister, hopefully they share knowledge or what they know to you. And that's what your teacher's doing. She's sharing knowledge with you so you can learn about things, which is extremely helpful. He didn't want to get rich. Because of this, Carver became known as a friend to farmers and a great inventor. What would you want to invent to help people? Hmm. So, what do you think you'd like to maybe invent that would help people? You know, you could be as simple as just helping people with new ways of getting food or getting care or anything, or even learning different, some new way to learn things. All right, so that's our story today, Veronica. I hope you enjoyed learning about George Washington Carver. So until next time, bye bye.